Well, as the one Canadian, or other Canadian in the room, I will give my obligated apology. I'm sorry, I had at least a beer, but I needed that beer to write down at least one or two jokes.
You're just too polite to jump in there, buddy.
Exactly. Didn't want to jump in, had to at least come at least a little bit prepared, but I'll go for that low-hanging fruit of Canadian jokes. But I specifically wanted to talk about when you come down to the US, every Canadian who's ever come down to America, because it's not every Canadian, has a border story. Some, many. Everyone has a story about crossing that border right at that nice 49th parallel straight line there. And so my buddy and I have been driving across the US, and that involved us crossing the border at some point. So we drove down to the border in British Columbia, just south of Vancouver. It's about an hour drive, I think. It's about an hour, right? Anyway, so you get down to the border, and it's always nerve-wracking because you're driving up to this narrow gate. It's like a toll gate, except you know at some point some guy's gonna ask you some really tough questions. They're like, what's in the back of your car? Do you have anything to declare? Really tough question when your car is full of like your life's stuff out of your apartment. So we get down to the border and roll down the window, give our passports, and border guard asks us, so what are you doing traveling down in the U.S.? And my friend says, he says, well, I just love your interstate highways. They're just way better than driving on Canadian highways. And the border guard just has just the slightest bit of a smirk. He's trying to keep it professional, trying to keep it cool. And he looks at us and he says, do you have any weed in the car? Keep in mind, I've crossed the border at least a couple times not in British Columbia. I've never been asked that question. Only in British Columbia have I been asked that question at the border. Another time, one of my border stories, I was crossing the border from Quebec into Vermont. And get down to the border, it's this one-lane road in the middle of like forest. You just drive up to this little outpost, and there's just one sad man in this little tiny booth that's like just the size of him. So I roll down my window, hand my passport over, says, all right, so what's your reason for the visit? Oh, I'm just driving down to Vermont, going camping, seeing the beautiful green mountains of Vermont. I think their license plates are green for a reason. And he says, do you have anything in your car to declare? Because my car is pretty empty. I was just going for an overnight. And I say, I have a bag of cheese curds. It's a dairy product. You got to declare it. It's on the laws. And he immediately hands me back my passport and says, that is nothing worth the time to fill out a form and declare. Just go. Go. Enjoy your cheese curds. And that's the experience of Canadians crossing the border to America.
Yay!